uh, respected speaker of today, Dr. Sherine Sonia Cubelio, scientist from Center for Marine Living Resources and Ecology. The dignitaries from ICTS and the audience, and good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of JN Planetarium as well as ICTS, I welcome you all to today's lecture, which is a very interesting one, captioned Marine Living Resources, a Blue Future. Okay, all of us know how important it is as far as ecosystem of the earth as such, and how it is tampered with by humans, all of us know. And what are the ramifications? None of us worry much about. So, in this regard, marine environment, marine ecosystem plays a very important role. It is an essential component of the ecosystem of the earth itself. And to elaborate on that, its nature and its significance in the future, Dr. Sonia Cubelio is there to talk to us. Thank you very much, madam, for this. You know that Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium under Bengaluru Association of Science Education and ICTS, International Center for Theoretical Physics, jointly organized this very popular program, Kaapi with Kuriosity. This is one of JNP's flagship science popularization programs. Without wasting much of your time, now I request the compeer to take over once again. And once again, I welcome you all to this lecture, especially to the speaker of today. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thank you, Paul. So welcome to all of you, friends. So today's talk is about marine biology, and we're very delighted to have our speaker, Sherine from Kochi, from the Center for Marine Living Resources and Ecology. So before introducing the speaker in more detail, I'd like to say a few words about this event. It's called Kaapi with Kuriosity. It's designed to bring the public into the mainstream of science. It's part of the mandate of both the Planetarium and the International Center for Theoretical Sciences, where we work. Many of us here are from the ICTS, and we are part of the outreach team, trying to bring interesting science topics to the general public. Now, the ICTS has got research at an international level in the theoretical sciences, and we've also got a series of programs where we have discussion meetings on important topics, including climatology. We also have a vigorous outreach program. Apart from the research and the conferences, we also have a vigorous outreach program, and this is part of it. We also have, within the outreach program, we have the Kaapi with Kuriosity is something that you're all familiar with, but we also have something called the Math Circles, which is designed to spot mathematical talent at a young age and nurture it so that it thrives. And finally, we also have programs for women in science. We're running in the summer 2 programs, one for women in mathematics and one for women in physics, designed to catch young women at the age of about 18 or 19 and induce them to come into physics for a research career. So about today's speaker, Sherine Cubelio is an extremely enthusiastic researcher, and I have heard her talk at a social event about her work, and I was struck with how enthusiastic she was about her work. Now, we have all been fascinated with exploration of various kinds. In science, for example, we explore the very small in particle physics, and we explore the very large in cosmology. But there are other frontiers apart from the very small and the very large. The frontier of space is another interesting one, but much more undiscovered is the frontier of the deep, which is the oceans of the earth itself. The oceans of the earth provide a very fragile ecosystem upon which life on this planet is very dependent. its fragility was not appreciated for many years until very recently, when we have realized that we cannot go on exploiting the oceans and destroying the planet that we live on. So Sherine's research is intimately connected with this. The first step in finding out about the oceans, in preserving the oceans, is to find out more about it. And this is where biologists come in particular marine biologists. So Sherine is a biologist who goes deeply into the sea, deeply into the deep, and finds out more about the living species which are yet undiscovered. She and her team are responsible for many new life forms, many new species which have been discovered. And she has been able to put together a talk which brings out the fragility of the ecosystem that we are dealing with, as well as the excitement of exploring it. In the old days, people used to go to the sea looking for treasure, as for example in Treasure Island or children's literature. But now we realize that the real treasures of the sea are not gold, but the living species that live there. So I invite Sherine to give her talk.
Very good evening, and first of all I would like to thank to Dr. Guru Prasad, who has I spoke to him a little while ago, and how I realized how fascinated he is and how knowledgeable he is about the oceans. So I think he is a born marine biologist, because he knows more about it, though he is a astrophysicist or whatnot. So I am privileged to be in this, and also I extend my gratefulness and gratitude to Dr. Sam, as he told during the introduction that I met him during a social event, and we had a very good talk. And this has helped, helped me to come to Bangalore and talk to you. And I'm also very much excited, to whatever I learn, it is all because of the, so I find that it is my moral responsibility to give what I learn to the public, especially the younger generation. And if I am able to inspire at least one of the young minds here to the field of marine biology, I have done my job today. So with that, let me go and take you to this wonderful and fascinating world of marine biology, or ocean at large. So, the famous Portuguese writer has once told, his name is Virgilio Ferrari. He has told, "Through my language you will see the sea." So today, as we sit in this planetarium where we study about the celestial objects and celestial things and whatnot, all those things, I am going to take you to an opposite end, that is to the ocean. We are talking about the sky. Now today, for another 1 year, I am going to take you to ocean, and you will see more wondrous, and how ocean is fascinating or more wondrous, or how mysterious it is. And we know ocean plays an important role in climate and our monsoon. It is all decided, oceans play an important role. And so it is, and the countries and all the oceanographers, for their convenience, or traditionally they have divided the ocean. Yeah, so traditionally the countries, maybe for sake of convenience, they have divided into Atlantic, Pacific, Indian. But technically speaking, there is only one ocean. It's the global ocean, isn't it? I think you should agree with me. So that's the only ocean. And this ocean decides our basic existence in the world, in this planet. And the ocean, which covers 2/3 of the Earth's surface, we say planet Earth. But I think we should term it as planet water, because almost 71% of this planet Earth is covered by water. And what is ocean? It is a huge mass of salt water. It's a huge mass of salt water which decides our own existence. This ocean is teemed with living organism, right from microscopic algae or bacteria or virus to giant charismatic species of marine mammals like blue whale, which has ever existed in this planet. So as a marine biologist, I will be just concentrating on the biology or the lives, like Dr. Sam has told, different species and what exactly make these species live in this particular region. Ocean is divided into, based on the light it receives, it has divided into many zones, and how these different organisms are adapted to live in these different ecosystems. Okay. Oceanographers classify the ocean into vertical and horizontal zones based on different physical, biological and chemical condition. Now, let us see in the pelagic zone, that is in the surface. So, now let us go into the first epipelagic zone. Epipelagic zone itself, as the word epi, that is the Greek word, it is a surface, and pelagikos is of sea. So, pelagic zone is from 0 to 200 meter, that is the epipelagic zone, that is sunlight reaches there. So, we know most of the things we know about this zone. Photosynthesis takes place there. So, and very easy to reach. 90% of the organisms which we know exist in this zone. Although there are millions and millions, hundreds of thousands of organisms exist, only 10% we know, but whatever we know and yet to discover all exist in this zone, because light is a deciding factor. And the temperature, that is another important factor which decides the existence of the organism. The temperature, average temperature of the ocean is almost 26 to 28, and this temperature vary, very much in this zone. When you go to the poles, it is almost -2, but we always have the question why the water doesn't freeze, because it is salt water, so the freezing point is very low, so it doesn't freeze at 0 degrees. So we see that the water is at -2. Then you come the warm ocean or warm water is found in where? It is in the Red Sea. We found the temperature of the water as high as 32 to 33 degrees centigrade. So that is the epipelagic zone, and we are comfortable with that because we have the infrastructure to go there and to study or to know more about it. Okay, now let us go to the next layer, that is mesopelagic zone. It is called the twilight zone. That is the water or the light won't penetrate much. So 200 to 1000 meter, it is called twilight zone. And here the organism which exist, unlike the organism which are seen in the epipelagic zone, where the photosynthesis takes place, where the photosynthetic organisms are more seen in the epipelagic zone. Here we see the organisms, they have to thrive, they have two choices. Either they have to go to the epipelagic zone and get the food, so they should be very active predators, they should be very swift. So active predators are seen in this zone, and otherwise they are just lethargic organisms. They have to wait and wait for the the food to fall to the top. That is called marine snow, because decomposed and other particles, which is the dead zooplankton, dead phytoplankton, which is falling from the top, are the source of food for the organisms which are seen in the mesopelagic or the twilight zone. Now you come, and here this zone, the temperature suddenly drops. The temperature suddenly drops, and that layer is called as thermocline. Thermocline, we see the top, the temperature will be gradually coming down, and once it reach a particular 500 to 800 meter, the temperature suddenly drop. That is called thermocline. And here we have active predators and also some food fishes like tunas, they are present here. And because we have the technology, like Western countries and all technology, so they target the tuna fisheries looking at the thermocline, and they put the hook in such a region, so they will get high hooking of tuna and related fishes. Now let us go to the to the next layer, that is called bathypelagic. Bathypelagic is also in Greek, it is called bottomless of the surface. So that is where this area sits in the continental slope, and here the sperm whale, all those organisms, that is also called as midnight zone. It is almost like a desert. We don't find much of the life there, but still some of the fishes, some hardy fishes are seen there. And this is another interesting, is that this is where the Titanic, you know, the Titanic which has sunk during her maiden voyage. So she you know, sits there as a, you know, it has inspired and motivated many people to go into, you know, the recent thing of what has happened also, you know. So there it is in this area, that is almost 4,000 meters, the Titanic rest. Now you come to the next layer, that is called abyssopelagic or abyssal zone. That is the crust of the ocean. It is also called abyssal plain. There you find, that is almost the flat surface. You can find the flat surface, in the most flat surface seen in this area. Here is what the tectonic plates, tectonic theory, you know, the earth is covered by different, you know, earth is formed of plates, tectonic plates, and you know, and these tectonic plates are always in motion. So when they collide each other, the mountains are formed, and some of the mountains which when they collide and raise, it will come to the surface of the ocean, and it has volcanic. The best example is, as you've seen in the Pacific Ocean, that Hawaiian Islands, it is a volcanic island. And when it collide, or sometimes when it slide apart, the deep trench will form. There, that is called, the venting takes place. There the venting takes place, the hot magma from the earth's surface comes out and it vent. So the whole process which is taking place under the ocean is not known to many since almost 1970s. And a team of scientists from the Woodsole Institute in the submersible Alvin, when they were going for an expedition, for the geological expedition, they happened to see the venting is taking place. But they thought, okay, they had some intuition that something is happening, but they never expected that such a life will exist in such an ecosystem. That is called hydrothermal vent. The venting takes place, and depending on the molten rock or the toxic chemicals and all those things which is coming from the magma, decide the color of the smoke. If more of sulfur is coming, the vent will be black smokers, and if more of calcium, barium, silicon it is coming, it is called white smokes. And the whole you know, that location or that ecosystem doesn't have light, so no photosynthesis. So you can imagine what is the source of food, the organism. So nobody expects the organism to thrive there, but still the organisms which depend upon chemosynthetic bacteria exist there. So we, you know, it will be very excited to see in such diversity and abundance the organisms exist in that environment. Then again I am taking again you go down, it is called hadopelagic zone. Hadopelagic zone is you know, it is characterized by trenches and troughs. The trenches are, you know, shallow troughs, or troughs are it is the other way. The troughs are shallow and trenches are very deep. That is the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. That is the deepest. And who has gone there? Some of the explorers have gone there, and the famous James Cameron, he wanted to make film. He's a science communicator also, as well as the explorer, and he's doing a lot of science also. So he has gone into that is called the deepest ever found place in the deepest ocean. So this is how the entire ocean is divided. So I hope it is everybody is you know now how the ocean is divided. Now okay, to be little more, we say that coastal ocean, surface ocean, midwater. Coastal ocean is, as I told, it is less than 200 meters, and most productive region of the ocean is the coastal waters, and this is responsible for our global GDP. because all the fisheries, everything depends on this coastal area of almost 200. But as Dr. Sir told, of the director of the planetarium told, it is under stress because of our human activity, because of the pollution, runoff, then overfishing. Because of that, this coastal ocean is under stress. And now the recent climate changing scenario, like it has caused severe sea level rise, storms, lot of things are happening. That has got implication for the ocean resources as well as for us. So it is estimated that 44% of the Earth's population, which is living within the 150 kilometer of the ocean, we will be threatened, and how much people will be displaced by the flood and sea level rise because of the global climate change. Now in the surface ocean also, I have just put some figures to understand how important the ocean is. We know more about the space than the ocean. So some of the figures I put to understand how important our ocean, which is the basic of our life. So the ocean, as equally as the trees, the terrestrial ecosystem, the ocean absorb almost more than 1/4 of the human carbon emissions which we have produced, they have absorbed. And the half of the half of the oxygen or the photosynthesis also takes place in the ocean. And another one interesting feature what we find is, we talk about the migrations of birds or anything, but a day, the phytoplankton or the zooplankton, they perform the largest migration on the earth in a day. In a day, all 1,000 meters, or roughly from surface to 800 meters, they migrate daily. On the daytime, they will come to the daytime, they will go and hide to protect themselves from the predators, and night they will go up in search of food. So that is considered as the largest migration ever happened on daily basis. So because of the waves, currents, all those things matters. So the biology is always, with physics, chemistry, it is like, it is a combination of everything. It is very interesting. And the almost 2/3 of the heat that we produce is absorbed by ocean. So what the role, you can imagine how the ocean plays an important role in deciding lot of things about our existence. Again, this is also, I just put some figures, the deep ocean is least explored, and how the mid ocean, yeah. So now I want to say that, during this plate tectonic theory, the plate collides, then plate slide each other. So the mountain ridge it formed, it encircles the whole globe. That is called mid-oceanic ridges. That is, there is a mid-oceanic ridges surrounding the globe under the ocean. It is very interesting to find. And these are the places where we see that hydrothermal vent exist, and different ecosystem exist, different organisms exist, which we never find in the normal sea bottom. And that is the photograph of the Alvin, with which the hydrothermal vent ecosystem has been discovered in the year 1978. And these are some of the organisms. Yes. Yes, but these, the pressure is an important factor which decides existence. So as we go down, every 10 meter, the pressure is 1 meter. 1 atmosphere every 10 meter. So as we go down, these organisms have its own, to adapt or to survive, its temperature, its chemical constituents, and the pressure is a deciding factor. So these are under tremendous pressure. So when we are bringing the organism top, they will never survive. They will never survive. But now deep pressurized system is there. So when we collect the organism, we put those organism into that, and we bring to the surface, and we make it in a, in a specialized condition. We have to sustain it. So the countries like Japan, US, they have a separate lab that extremophiles, these are called extremophiles. So they have developed high pressure system to maintain these type of organisms. So these are some of the, in this you see this AT crab. AT crab is one which was discovered from the hydrothermal vent in the coast of Pacific Ocean. And these crabs, you can see the setae, the whole body is covered with setae. So what we have analyzed in the lab is these setae harbors bacteria. So they are in, symbiosis, that is mutually they are benefited. So this crab harbors this bacteria, and the energy that needed for the bacteria is from this crab. So it is like a mutual shelter as well as the food they get. So this is millions of bacteria is harbored in this setae. So in Japan, they have this high pressure system and they have maintained this, but only for a period of time we can maintain. After that, they will never survive. They are adapted to that temperature, then pressure. So to some extent, the labs have provided, and they have done some experiment on that. It is very interesting to know. And these organisms we don't find in the normal sea bottom. You see the pressure in hydrothermal vent is almost 300 atmosphere. You can imagine how it is. It is almost like some 50 jet planes sitting on top of one person. That is a pressure. Temperature is highly, it is very high. And the pH which determines the, it is very low, it is very acidic. And the chemicals, toxic chemicals like mainly hydrogen sulfide, what is coming out of the magma. So it is very toxic environment, and salinity also 10 to 200% of the seawater. So in this, these are the crabs, and these organisms are not found in the normal sea bottom. They are fully adapted to live in such a chemosynthetic environment. Yes. That is what, yes. Actually, it is said that the life originated in hydrothermal vents because it is very extreme. The environmental condition in such an ecosystem is very extreme, and slowly they have adapted through millions of years of, genetic adaptability they have acquired and came to the normal sea bottom. So that is what Dr. Guru Prasad, while I was interacting with him, he said, there is a possibility of seeing life in the outer space. There also the condition is extreme.
So currently, how are these connected with the rest of the ecosystem in the ocean, like the extremophiles and other? Are they important for the rest of the...
Yes, I will tell you. Now, during the COVID time, PCR is it has become a very familiar thing. What is PCR? It is actually PCR is polymerase chain reaction. So it is a chain reaction. The DNA. I am coming into that point since I am coming to the point since you asked. I will just in a short. So that is a reaction which is taking place in an equipment called thermal cycler. So we get a small DNA. But with the DNA, we are not able to, see exactly, we cannot read the full genes. So what we will do, we will amplify that small DNA into a big so that the machine can read. So PCR is for that chemical reaction to take place, we need an enzyme. We need an enzyme, a catalyst to polymerase it and making it amplify so that we can detect whether the genes is present, whether it is virus, whether it is COVID virus or any other. So for that enzyme is extracted from some of these bacteria which is seen as the basis of life. Why? Because the bacteria can tolerate these extreme temperature, 400-degree temperature. PCR is a reaction which is taking place in high temperature, from 30 to 90 degree it is going. So that enzyme is produced by bacteria which is seen in this. So that is why all the Western countries are going into the ocean. Why all the countries are interested? Because the treasure is there. The treasure is there. All these, all the drug companies, mainly the medical companies, they need lot of drugs for the cancer research, whatever it is, because these animals are seen in the extreme environment. So they produce some compound which make them survive. So what are the compounds? Those compounds, by pilot studies which we conducted, the scientists have conducted, they are capable of anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, anti-analgesic. So we are in search of the organisms which are seen in those depths. So that also now the other countries, like the countries which are having all those sophisticated instruments and infrastructure and technology, they are going into the ocean. So just for that, the rest of the things are also affected. Yeah. So you see, this is a vent which is seen in Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean, this is the vent which is explored by the Japanese team. You see the teeming life there. See again. I will show the one video about the hydrothermal. It is very exciting, very fascinating and exciting. So this is, again, so what is the ocean biodiversity means? It is the home. The biodiversity is very remarkable, and the ocean is the home for such a remarkable biodiversity. Out of the 34 animal phyla which known to exist in the earth, 33 representatives of 33 animal phyla exist in the ocean, whereas in the land it is only 12. So you see the diversity of animals or organisms when we compare the. But though such a diversity exists in the ocean, we know only less than 10%. So 90% are yet to discover. So I urge the youngsters, there are a lot of opportunities like us in the ocean. It's a world of opportunity, ocean of opportunity. And you see the microbes, that is with the multicellular organism, eukaryotes. Eukaryotes are multicellular organism. We don't know, we know only less than 10%. Then what about the virus? What about the bacteria? So much things we have to learn, we need to learn about. So the basis is why so much diverse? What is the foundation of this diversity? That is the genes or the hereditary material that each organism has. So that is the pillar, or that is the foundation of all the life. So this genes which is seen in me or any other, that determines what species, how the species appear, how they behave, why I am behaving, or why why elephant is like that, why tiger is like that, because of the genes it harbors. And the genes determine how it distribution and also the adaptability. So, or in another word, it is the genetic diversity which enables survival and thriving in different ecosystem and stabilizes the population. Or in other words, we can say that we have to preserve these genes, because that also determines our food security, because all these are connected. So we need to preserve the organism in the ocean. I think at the end we can ask the questions, no? That will be better, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes, Dr. Sai. Yeah, sure.
I just thought that I'll ask it because, I was just wondering whether this enormous diversity is a consequence of the fact that the ocean is very ancient in some sense. I mean, if you have more time, then there is more possibility of diversity to be explored.
It can be a factor, yeah. It can be a factor.
Okay.
Because the ocean, the life existed almost how many millions of years ago. So there is only one ocean. So the organisms have evolved in this extreme environment. Then slowly, all the cooling took place and different organism has evolved. So even the land organism also from the ocean, from the sea, from the water it went into the land. So ocean is the cradle of life. Now when you see the diversity and abundance on a global scale, you can see, so some of the estimates, this UN conduct estimates of organisms or the living resources every 10 years they take the assessment. So I was a part of the working group in the United Nations which were involved in assessing the life, making the assessment. So that have gone into the World Registry of Marine Species. This is the recent figure I am telling. So the recent figure, the global valid marine species, including all the animals, plants, animals mean fishes, plants, seagrass, algae, all those says it is almost 242,984, but much more is there. And when you come in the spatial level, you can see this area. This is called the coral triangle. Coral triangle seems to be highly diverse, a very unique or endemic fauna. Endemic in the sense very unique, very rare, rare assemblage of species, mainly the corals. That is why it is called coral triangle. And why, as madam asked, why this area is so diverse? What is the reason? So it is again estimated that, this coral triangle sits where this, it is almost more than 5 million square kilometers of area, where Philippines, Indonesia, Pacific Islands, Solomon Islands, all those, it is in the tropics. And this is Pacific Ocean and this is Indian Ocean. So they may be sharing of water mass. So there can be a sharing took place. And it also says that organisms have evolved here or adapted here over millions of years ago, and slowly, or they have sequestrated here, and then slowly they have adapted to different oceanic region. So this area is found to be very unique, but at the same time this area is under stress because of the many reasons. And coming into this is a world picture I gave. And coming to our own northern Indian Ocean, you see this is the figure. As per the latest figure, we have 18,133 species. Because CMLRE, we are committed, nationally and internationally we are committed to update or inventorize the marine living resources. So this is the latest figure we have updated, that it is almost close to 18,000 species in the northern Indian Ocean. This is based on the literature, then primary data, when we go for the cruise, all those data. So this is what, how much organisms or how much living organisms, and this figure again less than 10% of what actually exists. So much more is there to do. Again, the ocean, the role of ocean, the very air we breathe, 50% of photosynthesis is taking place by phytoplankton. They contribute. It is almost like equivalent to 4 Amazon rainforest. And the climate regulation, 70% of the carbon dioxide is absorbed. Then transportation for the trading, recreation of course, then economy, then food, the proteins, then medicine. As I told, all living organisms, marine living organisms are the treasure or the source of lot of medicines. So how we will assess the ecosystem services, how we assess? So it is almost $29.5 trillion per year. So much services the ocean is doing, almost equivalent to that GDP. So this ocean is now like a vanishing oasis because of climate change, overfishing, coastal development, marine debris, oil spill, the oil spill, or even the ships when they go, they will let, during their transportation, oil spill takes place. So it has got severe implications on the organisms that is in the sea. Then invasive space, from one country, when the ship comes to a different country, the invasive species transportation takes place. So that is causing lot of negative implications. And underwater noise, we see lot of experiments are doing under the sea, like submarines. So all these are caused. Why I put underwater noise is that these, these marine mammals or whales, they navigate by ultrasonic sound. So that during the submarine testing, their frequency and this frequency, sometimes it get disturbed. So they get, by the ultrasonic sound waves only, they are very social animals. They navigate or they communicate by the sound produced. So when this submarine testing or drilling, underwater drilling takes place, they get disoriented. So they thinking it is ocean, they get disoriented and come to the beach and stranding takes place. So once it comes to the beach, these marine mammals, they cannot go back. So they ultimately die. So that is one. Now lot of events are happening, stranding of marine mammals, and we are monitoring its events. And I told, oxygen limiting factor in a well aerated, these are some of the results of the experiment which my team has done. In a well aerated water, there is a, phytoplankton, zooplankton in the surface, then depending on that, the fishes are there and other opportunistic feeders are there. But when the oxygen is not there, this food chain as such it get disturbed. So you must have heard about the fish coming to the surface, rain. It is not any, some say that, oh, it is coming, the God is, giving the fish. No, it is because there is oxygen, severe depletion of oxygen, that the fishes are jumped out. Or sometimes the wind, when there is heavy wind and the fishes will be moving in the, they go as a school. So they will be moving. So because of the wind, they get washed ashore. So that is, so when there is a reduction in the oxygen, the fishes get moved, or and recently our experiments or our studies also validated that there is a oxygen minimum zone exists in the northern Arabian Sea. In the 300 to 500, there is an oxygen minimum zone. There it is like a desert. There is no fishes are available, and whatever the fishes available also, it move off to a different. So when the fisherman goes, they won't get. They will be traditional fishermen, So like that, lot of losses also, for economical losses also. And HAB, HAB, harmful algal blooms. When upwelling occurs, there are productivity more. So when there are lot of algae, when algae multiply exceeding the limit, they consume oxygen. So there won't be oxygen left for the other organism. And these algae, when they multiply in a exponential way, it causes red tide. And this also has implication with the other organism which is in the sea. Okay, another one threat to the biodiversity or the diversity or even the ocean is acidification. What is acidification? In a simple term, it is ocean becoming acid. We know how the pH in a scale of 1 to 14, and 7 is the neutral, below 7 it is acidic, and above 7 is alkaline. So what happens is that because of the carbon dioxide after the pre-industrial period, lot of carbon emissions are happening. So this carbon is in the atmospheric carbon is absorbed by water. So what will happen? It break down into carbonate and hydrogen ion. So more of hydrogen ion and carbonate. So what happens is that again the carbonate in the water. So coral ecosystem, as such coral form an ecosystem as such, So when there is more of carbon dioxide, it makes the water acidic, and the brunt is caused acidification, and it is seen in the coral bleaching. what happens? Coral bleaching occurs. Coral again, like hydrothermal vent, they have a symbiotic relationship with the microscopic algae called zooxanthella. So this zooxanthella, when there is bleaching, how the coral bleaching happens is that water becomes more acidic, temperature rises, so they cannot survive in the coral. Actually, these zooxanthella are surviving inside. It is also symbiosis. Zooxanthella gets shelter and the coral get the nutrients from zooxanthella. So they are give and take relationship. So like that only they are surviving. So when temperature rises, becoming acidic, the coral is under stress. Zooxanthella cannot make any nutrients. So they will just leave the house. So when they leave the house, coral, there is no life for the coral. So it becomes pale and it slowly dies. And the coral, which has taken millions and millions of years to, flourish, it will die within a year or so. That is what happened during the coral bleaching which happened in Great Barrier Reef. Great Barrier Reef is one of the largest coral ecosystem in the world. More than 50% of the corals have died in Great Barrier Reef. Also the same in the case of the coral triangle. Coral triangle, in the earlier slide I showed how diverse or how organisms, not only the corals are seen in the coral triangle, out of the coral triangle have almost 3,500 fishes which existing in the world. 3,000 species of fishes are seen in that region. And the 7 species of turtles which is seen in the world ocean, out of 7, 6 species are seen in the coral triangle region. So when the corals are dying, the corals are the form, they are the basis of the ecosystem. The fishes are not there, turtles are not there, mollusks are not there. So finally who is suffering? The ecosystem suffers and finally the human being. So this is what happens when ocean acidification takes place. Again, this is also based on some of the values during our research, what we have found, almost a decade of research which we have seen. The oil sardine, which is called as Indian oil sardine, because we are proudly say the sardine is ours and it is named after, it is our national fish, Indian oil sardine. So it is seen up to Goa, almost from Cochin, from this region, from the Cape to 14 degrees, that is almost to Goa. So this is the region, this is called Malabar upwelling region, and the oil sardine were only found in this region. But now you can see the sardine is going, they are migrating to the northern region. You will get the sardine again now north to the Gujarat area also we will say. Not only in the west coast, even in the east coast also we have seen sardine. Because the temperature is rising, so they are slowly adapting to the different ecosystem or different regions. This is found to be beneficial in one way because the sardine is available in the other, Bay of Bengal also. But at the same time, take away the Indian mackerel, the mackerel also, it is also, a pelagic fishes. They are supposed to be in the pelagic region, so the coastal fisherman with their pelagic gear, they can catch the fish. But now, because of the ocean acidification and also warming, they are not seen in the surface. They are migrating to down. So this is putting the fishermen in under stress because they have to scout more time and they need the different gears. So traditional fishermen are getting affected because of this. So these are some of the examples I am telling. And here, most of the fishes, for example, bluefin tuna, all those fishes which in the beginning I told, the fishes which are seen in the thermocline region. So they are getting the reduction in the population size and these reefs are getting affected. So some of the threats you can read out, some of the threats because of the ocean acidification, global warming. These are mainly there are different fisheries getting affected. One important thing I forgot to tell, because of the ocean acidification, see, the phytoplankton or the Kaapi or the zooplankton, among the zooplankton, one organisms, they are called pteropods, or they are called as sea butterflies. They are shelled organism. They make this shell because of the availability of calcium carbonate in the water. So when there is no calcium, because of the more of water is getting acidic, the carbonate ion is no longer available for them to make calcification. So these snails or gastropods which make shells, they are not available, so they are not present in the environment. So, and these are the food for next energy level, like zooplankton or the fishes. So when these food fishes or food organisms are not available, how the next level of the organism exists? So these are some of the implications of the global warming, then ocean acidification. So how can we make a difference? How can we make a difference? There are some tools with which we have to preserve. One such tool is marine protected areas. You are quite familiar with, in the land we have wildlife sanctuary, we have protected areas like biosphere, then we have sanctuaries. Why the government is implementing all these? To protect some of the species. For example, the Project Tiger. In 1972, yeah, if I am right, 1972, the government has found that the tiger population is getting reduced because of the hunting, poaching, etc. So Tiger project was implemented in 1972. Then following that, the government implemented Project Elephant. Again, to see the population is maintained for the conservation. But what about the marine organisms, marine animals, mainly the charismatic or big or active predators or big predators like marine mammals. So the best way, so now the government has realized that there are a lot to do for for this. So now the government recently the government is announced Project Dolphin. Project Dolphin. Dolphin is a marine mammal. So we have almost 30 odd species of marine mammals, and they are under the Scheduled Act, Protection Act. And this also, along with this, other organisms like sharks, because they are all active predators. When compared to the Project Tiger or Project Elephant, where every 5 years government spends 200 crore. So what is the spending for the marine organisms or the marine life? So here we say that at least so many percentage of ocean should be protected, and this will enable, the restrictions in the use. So more of protection will get, and this can be used as a lab to do, more of science to know what actually, how the ecosystem exists and all. So this is what we are doing. Okay, so what are marine protected areas? So now the international community, the scientific community knows what is the implications our human activities are doing to the ocean environment. So in 2010, the international scientific community or the government or the UN, they have declared that at least 10% of the ocean has to be conserved or protected. But we cannot achieve that goal. So now we reach 2024. Then 2030, every year we set the goal. So 2030, at least 30% of the ocean has to be protected. So now you see in the global level how much the protection is there. Even though we have set the goal, we are nowhere in that. So this is the coastal area. So now you come to the high sea. Whether there are any protected areas? No. So there are protected areas like, Gulf of Mannar. You must have heard about Gulf of Mannar. That is a protected area because of the diversity, the more diversity or the rarity or the endemicity of organism depend or suggest that those areas to be protected, and the government implement those plans. So who we are? I have only reached half of my talk. So who we are? I have given a very big introduction. I think I have navigated you about the oceans, about different sections of the oceans, what are the organisms present. So who we are. So I am from the Center for Marine Living Resources and Ecology, dedicated and committed to study the deep sea. Okay, you remove the deep sea to marine living resources of the country, particularly the deep sea. And we have a humble beginning with Sagar Sampada, that is our research platform. This is a Danish made ship, almost 70 feet long ship, and it is commissioned in 1985 at the time of Indira Gandhi. She was very much into the research, so they had a political, exchange something, and the government of Denmark actually gifted the government of India with this ship, Sagar Sampada. And this office where I am working almost 15 years before, it was just to manage the daily activity of the Sagar Sampada, because government has realized the importance of ocean in the socio-political, economic value, economic sense. So the Sagar Sampada cell was established, and then slowly in 95 it was elevated as a Department of Ocean Development, and 2001 the office have formed in Kochi, and it was named Center for Marine Living Resources and Ecology, and we were given the mandate to study and develop the strategies for documenting the marine living resources of the Indian EEZ. Because we have lot of commitments, national commitments as well as international commitment to know the diversity of our sea. Unless and until we know the diversity, how can we conserve? We are talking about the conservation. We know the population of tigers, we know the population of elephants, we know Bengal tiger almost, now it has increased the population from 1,000 to 3,000 odd numbers, tigers, elephant also. But what about our EEZ, what about our charismatic species like marine mammals or fishes? There are dwindling catches. So unless and until we know what exactly lies there, we have to document, we have to inventorize. Unless we know, how can we progress? So this is what we are doing in a small way. And this is my office. This is my office. You can see how gracefully and tall it stands between in the forest of mangrove in a 10 acres land. And this is the organization under the Ministry of Earth Science. We have 2 subordinate offices and 3 attached offices and 5 autonomous bodies. And these attached office is, one is again in Chennai and one in Delhi, and subordinate office, the IMD in Indian Meteorological Department, who is giving the for us weather predictions about the climate. And the science for this is fed by IITM, that is Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology in Pune. And we are like this, almost 10 institutes under this Ministry of Earth Science. And our mission, as I told, to study the marine living resources, and we have international collaborations with different organizations like UNDOLAS, that is UN Convention of Law of the Sea. We have then CMLRE, that is we deal with the Convention of Marine Living Resources of the Antarctic Ocean. Then Ocean Biodiversity Information. This is an international body, that is Ocean Biodiversity Information System. Here what is happening is that, see, now we know what is happening with our resources. So all the primary data where these organisms, where the marine organisms are found, each organizations in an internationally accepted format, they feed all the information where it is occurring, what are the parameters, or in the simple, the geo-reference data of the marine organism are pooled into this. So it is like a deep database. So anybody can access it, it is an open access base. So when we look or interpolate those data in that site, we know how the organisms are at present, how the organism were in the past, and how the organism will behave in the future. So we can model the organism for a period of time and decide how it will be. That is how all these figures I showed, you know, the figures I showed after 50 years, how it will be. All these data are taken from this deep database. And we have lot of programs. Deep Ocean Mission, as I was interacting with our director, it is a very ambitious program of the Government of India, where we are going to document the living resources of the sea mound by using submersibles and remotely operated vehicles. It is a very ambitious program. Then our in-house program, Biodiversity, which I am heading, and other my colleagues are heading the rest of the program. And we do have collaboration with international organizations. Here, Necton UK, we have a collaboration with which last year we took part in a submersible dive to study the diversity of twilight zone, that is mesopelagic zone, that is from 200 to 1000 meter depth. So we have a collaboration with this. Then, as I told, this is the data archival Indobus, and with the museums, because the taxonomy study, we encourage lot of taxonomy studies. So we have collaboration with museums and other institute like Monterey Bay and Woodsole. And now apart from the traditional taxonomy, we make use of advanced tools like AI, ML and genomic tools. Okay, now let us see the, a historical account of the studies elsewhere conducted, and which has encouraged countries like us to come into the marine living studies. Most of the studies about this started in 18th century, and Challenger expedition is said as, the British Challenger expedition can be said as the first systematic, scientifically organized expedition. It has circumnavigated the whole globe, almost 3.5 years. It has circumnavigated the globe, and wealth of information it has amassed. And the results have brought almost 50 volumes of documents. And the success of these expeditions, it was followed by, British Challenger expedition, German expedition, Dutch expedition. So they have amassed wealth of knowledge about the current pattern, about the tide pattern, how the ocean influenced the monsoon, weather, everything. And this has encouraged India to take international Indian Ocean expedition along with this. So this was the first international ocean expedition where India took place, and we were part of this expedition along with almost 13 countries, where almost 3 dozens of ships were put into, almost 3 dozens of ships were put into use. And because we had the scientific community had an understanding about Atlantic and Pacific, but not much of Indian Ocean. So this particular expedition, that is International Indian Ocean Expedition, was mainly catered to know the diversity and the different aspects of ocean, especially in the Arabian Sea as well as the Bay of Bengal. And this expedition has culminated in the formation of National Institute of Oceanography in Goa. So much wealth of knowledge and results have amassed. Okay, so what we do? So now you know who we are. So what we do? So as far as my team is concerned, we document the resources, we inventorize the resources, making use of classical taxonomy as well as advanced genomic tools. As I told, we make use of eDNA, that is the most advanced biodiversity tool. eDNA means eDNA, environmental DNA. I will explain that. So this is just a flow chart, how we are doing. When we get an organism by classical methods, we will see who is it. But to see the species apart, we can say who it is, but to distinguish it apart, we need different tools. So here that tool is called as molecular systematics. We go little deep into the genetics. We will, we have the PCR primer. Madam was asking about the PCR. So we make use of this. That is called DNA barcoding. We take a tissue. Anyway, in the next slide I will bring that. And then voucher the sample. We will assign an identification code. So this vouchering is called as voucher specimens, and they are the base of any taxonomy studies. So we have to, this is our treasure. This we consider as a treasure, and this voucher sample form the base of the future studies. That based on the voucher sample only, the rest of the, that is the physical documented species which a taxonomics need. Based on that, the rest of the species are described, whether it got hands and legs and tail and all sort of things. And this goes into the referral center, which is, like a, in the bank how we keep the gold. So it is very sacred and very auspicious and very treasured. We keep that in a safer place, and that is called voucher specimen. And the data will go into the deep data, that is Indo-BIS data. And the genomic approach, we study the genes and we go into deep into this. When we study the genes, we can tell two apart. But we go deep into it, then we will know how it functions in an ecosystem. We sequence it, so lot of things we will understand about it. It gives more insights how it adapt to the. See, now we are saying about the ocean acidification, we are saying about the global warming. Still the species are there, how it is adapting it to it. Okay, when it is cold, we will put AC and we will adjust the temperature. We will increase or decrease. But how the organisms are adapting? So they make changes in the genetic makeup, in the genetic setup. So they make changes and they can adapt to the ecosystem. So to understand it, we go deep into the genetic level. So it is a way of integrated study. We can make lot of assumptions. Okay, this is now like Earth Biogenome project is going on, and we are also a part of this, doing the biogenome of the ocean species, of the marine species. That is what I told you here. That it gives deep insight into the diversity of the species, how the species are adapted to the environment, how they respond to the change, and then provide the means, how the entire communities in an ecosystem assemble pattern, how they adapt, how they, live. And these are some of the tools which we use. Here, this is morphology. Just we see how the shape we will see, that is called morphology. But the shape we will count. When we count the shape, it is called morphometry. So we make use of this. And also recently we have procured advanced, some of the equipments like micro-CT, then inverted microscope, SEM, that is scanning electron microscope. So we can study deep into the morphology of a species, because sometimes two species when we take, just like seeing they look alike. So, but we know it is a different species. That is called cryptic speciation. So to know the cryptic speciation, we have to go deep into the genetics, and also morphology also we study these. I think you must have recognized who is sitting with that instrument. Okay. So for the last a decade of research, we have published new species of crabs, that is arthropoda. Arthropoda consists of crabs, shrimps and crabs comes under arthropoda. So we have published this. Then deep sea fishes. Deep sea fishes are not very good to see because they are living in such a harsh environment. So there is no light, so they will have a luring mechanism and they are very sluggish. I told in the beginning, they have only two choices, either they stay there and wait for the food to come, or they should be active predators to go into the surface and get the feed. So these fishes are very lethargic. They sit there, they have a luring apparatus, they will lure the organism, then once they come they will eat. So they are very lethargic because they don't want to spend their energy by scouting. The energy they are conserving to reproduce, that is the only thing. They reproduce and they live there. So these organisms are seen in the deep layers, and these are some of the species which we described from Lakshadweep. So these are some of the new species which my team has described, and these are some this is the location from where we have explored. This is Andamans, and this is Southeast Arabian Sea, and this is Bay of Bengal. So these are the locations from where we have, and these are called as new zoo-geographical record. What it means that, because it exists in the different parts of the ocean, but for India it is new. Of course we have separated into Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, etc. They doesn't know what is Indian Ocean, but in our territorial water it is not found. But when we go into for the expeditions, we found this organism, and this is found earlier in Gulf of this is found in not in Indian waters. Earlier it was found in Pacific waters. Yeah. So now we have found in our waters. So it is a new geographical report. So these are all very interesting, and this is a type of mesopelagic fish which we have from this Arabian Sea we have caught. Okay. So some of the tools which which my lab uses is, this is little tricky, that okay. So in the beginning I told what is DNA. It is simply ATCG. What is ATCG? They are nucleotide base. That is a base. That is a very basic of our existence. So we sequence it. Sequencing is that we try to read the order how these nucleotide bases are arranged. That is called sequencing. The word sequencing is now quite familiar with COVID. Everybody is saying sequencing. So what is actually sequencing? We are looking into how orderly these ATCG, that is adenine, cytosine, guanine and thymine. So what is the sequence? How they are arranged in a gene, and this is. So we find this for the macroorganism. We take a tissue, we extract the DNA, and we barcode it. Barcode in the sense that we will read only a portion. That is called barcode. But when we want to study the whole genome, we need to sequence it. And some of the instruments earlier we were having, it has got its own limitation to study or to read only one sequence, only one tissue at a time, only one fragment of a DNA. But with the advent of next generation sequencing, millions of fragments of DNA can be sequenced at a time. Millions of fragments of DNA we can sequence at a time. So these are called next generation sequencers. So this, my lab, we are in the process of, procuring it. Maybe within 3 months I will be procuring these equipments. So with this, we will sequence the whole genome of an organism and study the functions of the genes, and this has got severe, in this drug development. It has got lot of potential, not only to study the marine world, in the industrial level also. So that is the advancement we have done in the marine sciences because of this availability of these advanced tools. So this is how the workflow, what we do this, these are the collection, this is the chain dredge, these are the collection devices with which we collect the samples on board, and once it comes into the lab, we identify with the different instruments, then we go for little more advanced, and we will know which species, we will be able to study them apart, and we will, the specimens, the whole specimens will go to the repository, and the tissue, you please note, the tissue will go into the biobank. What is biobank? You must have seen Jurassic Park, right? How they rated the Jurassic, because they had the tissue. So, the species which we are keeping in this optimizer, which we under lock and custody, no, lock and key, a piece of tissue will go into the biobank where the tissue is stored in -80 degree. So it is a long term preservation. So after many years, if we want to study, or some, today I am seeing some species. So after many years, I don't know whether those species exist. So some of you, maybe you become a marine scientist and come, and he can resurrect that species from this tissue. So that is why I am holding this. So this is for the future generation. This is for the future generation. These things are for the future generation we are holding. You must have seen the Jurassic Park, no? From a tissue which is seen there, how they erected the Jurassic Park, how they erected the dinosaurs. So this is what our vision, hopefully. Yeah, this is also same, like, you know, yeah, I was telling about the eDNA. Okay, now see the collection what we are making is here. See, when we collect to make the diversity, or to see the diversity, we have to physically sample the fish, sample the organism. Okay, so we have different gears. We go and collect the fish, then we look all his tail and all the gills, and we know. But you know how much time, how much energy, how much things we need to do. So now the best tool is that eDNA, environmental DNA. Now see, I am here, I spend here 1 hour I spend. My DNA is here in the air. Maybe my spittle, my fingerprint, that is physically, maybe my spittle. So that is called environmental DNA. Everybody's DNA signature is in this room. So in the sea, what we will do is that we will take 5 ml of water. We will take 5 gram of sediment. We come to the lab. We have the probe and we sequence it. We do the whole genome sequence. We do the genome sequence. So from 5 ml of water, we will get the signature of what all organisms were present in that water. That is what these sequences. Millions of DNA it is sequencing. So from 5 ml of water, we will get the signature of all the organisms present. So we are not physically taking. So we are not going by way of sampling, we are not destroying the ecosystem. We are just taking the 5 ml of water and 5 gram of sediment. With that, I will know the biodiversity existing in that particular location. So that is what we are doing now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is some of the results where with this we have found that some of the areas where it is biodiverse, like, you know, Terrace of Trivandrum, then here in the Andamans, glass sponge ecosystem, in the Nicobar area, sea pen ecosystem, they are called as keystone species. What are keystone species? The keystone species are those which possess or which exert a regulatory mechanism on other species. Because the keystone species are there only, the other species also can exist. I think it is time. Oh. The whales are marine mammals. I told 30 odd species. They are called the sentinels. They decide the health of the ecosystem. They are involved in the whale pump because, you know, they go to the surface. They are filter feeders. They go to the surface and they poop. The poop is full of nutrients. So all this will, you know, generate that cycle. So it is called whale pump. That is ecosystem services the whales are doing. And these are the my lab. This is what I said, biobank. So these will give answer to a lot of scientific questions like diversity, connectivity, etc. Then some of the fishes which is seen in the mesopelagic area. And the blue future, my talk's title is Blue Future. What is the future? Because, you know, capture fisheries, we know we have almost reached that sustainable, we have almost reached. So we have to look the other sources. The only source is that mariculture. So our goal is, the government of India's goal is at least 1% of the EEZ to go for mariculture. We have some potential species, so we need to standardize, or on an industrial basis we need to do mariculture. And bioprospecting. Bioprospecting, all these organisms have different anti or inflammatory. So we need to identify this organism, extract the compound and use for bioprospecting, which will find uses for medical use. So with this, I think I come to a talk, I come to the close of my talk, and I have some videos which I am sure the youngsters will get inspired. So I was very fortunate to be part of a deep sea submersible cruise with other countries. So I have just cut and paste and made a video. So this is in Maldives. Last year we went for a submersible dive, and this was mainly to know the biodiversity of the twilight zone, that is mesopelagic, between 300 to 1000 meters, to know the diversity existing in that particular area. Copied, some things got lost, I think. No? This is sampling which we did in Andaman Island, yeah.
Morning. Morning.
This is how we collect the water. This is called Niskin sampler. This is in a shallow water body. in the water for eDNA. So eDNA we are collecting the eDNA. We are keeping it in the liquid nitrogen. So, yeah, so now I am ending my talk. So this is my director, Dr. GVM Gupta. He is a biochemist, and this is my team, and Senthil, and this is my project team. I have a very, committed and dedicated team of young people, always in the job 24/7. And finally, my family. Some people say family is not that important, but for me it is everything. And my husband, I am very much indebted to him for what I am and who I am today. And these are my 4 pillars, my children, who have sacrificed a lot. So this is what I am. Thank you so much.
We have time for a few questions. If anybody wants to ask, this is the time. Yes, we'll start with, yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
You spoke of extremophiles. Have we discovered any new proteins or anything from extremophiles that kind of is very distinct from what we see in rest of the ocean?
Yes, I told you, for the PCR, we need an enzyme, polymerase enzyme, that is extracted from Thermophilic aquaticus, that bacteria which is seen in the hydrothermal vent. So that was one of the landmark discovery which has paved the way for our PCR reactions, which find useful even in the COVID-19. So that bacteria is extracted from the, that enzyme is extracted from the bacteria which exists in the hydrothermal vent.
Thanks.
So I had a question, a few questions actually. You were telling the change in depth and survival. So how you said you also mentioned that planktons go up and down every day and night. So how do they manage the change in pressure?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Even their survival also is determined by the pressure. And there are the planktons are seen only from 0 to 200 meters, right? So there the pressure is not that much, as compared to the down. There 0 to 100 in every 10 meter depth, 1 atmosphere pressure. So it is not, not very significant, which will affect their survival there.
So in deeper waters, moving every 10 meters is much more pressure different than the 0 to 200 meters.
No, the planktons are seen only from 0 to 100 meter. It is not even 200 meter. So there the pressure difference is not much when compared. And in the deep there is no plankton because there is no sunlight, no photosynthesis. Only in the 0 to 100 meter depth the photosynthesis is active and they are able to adapt to that temperature and pressure.
So, and you were talking about whales, right? So,
Yes.
for the research of the ultrasonic language or whatever, ultrasound language or whatever, is there possible volunteering and data? So,
Is that possible?
is it possible in any ways that I can volunteer or use the
Of
data?
course, of course, of course. I will tell you. Now we are going, we are launching a mobile app that is called Ocean Eyes. Ocean Eyes. It is almost ready. Only thing that administrator, some sort of synchronizing is happening. So maybe you can leave the contact with Debadatta. It is like a involving the students and the public in ocean research. So you can, once that app is ready, you can download from the Play Store, and when you go to the sea or when you go to the beach, if you see any stranded marine mammal, simply you stand there and you put the data, open the, download that app, open the data and you find your location, everything will come. It is in the testing mode. Maybe another, we are planning for January 1st to launch that officially. So simply you put that, and even when you are in a place where there is no internet connection, there is no problem. Once it comes to the where it gets synchronized automatically. So I will pass on the details to you. Debadatta, you please let me know about that student. Thank you very much. It's a very good question. I see a marine biologist in you.
I have a few more questions actually.
Oh, maybe we can have a discussion. Okay.
Yeah. More questions? Yeah, you can talk to her during refreshments outside.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So, the eastern coast of India witnesses cyclones annually, and I want to understand how the marine organisms living in the eastern coast have adapted to this, considering climate change and even without climate change. The second question is, what is the meaning of the technical term coccolithophores? It was mentioned in one of your slides.
Yeah. Second question I will take. Coccolithophores are called as theropods or sea butterfly. That is the word of, that is the meaning of coccolitho. They need calcium carbonate for the shell formation. Because of the ocean acidification, less the water is becoming more acidic, and availability of carbonate is less. So they are not able to make their own shell. So they are having a weak shell, so they are not able to survive to become the food for the rest of in the food chain. So that is a very serious thing we are seeing because of the warming of the water. And cyclone, you say it is all depends upon the atmospheric temperature and pressure, and because of the cyclone, whether marine organisms are affected, in a way they are affected because there will be disturbance in the ocean. So when these disturbances are there, they may not be able to find a proper food. That food chain is getting disturbed. So that is having indirectly it is getting affected.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Madam, it is predicted that older oceans will slowly disappear and newer oceans will form. What is your comment on that?
Question?
See, older oceans, like the Bay of Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, there are symptoms and signs of the oceans disappearing and newer oceans forming. This is a report I have read. It's possible?
It may take, because the ocean as such is formed after many billions and billions of years. So in a geological time, there can be predictions. I am not an authority to say about that.
But they are saying that the Arabian Sea is almost shrinking. If you go to Goa, you can see 30 years earlier, and at present it is receding.
It is maybe the concept is that because of the warming up, there will be changes in the availability. That what is it called? Yeah, sea level rise. Maybe that was the point. Sea level rise is there. So the coastal area, the availability of the coastal area is getting reduced, and it is predicted that they can be submergence. For example, Maldives, they are very cautious about their environment, and the government is given so much, for them the environment is first, rest of the things are secondary, because it is an land which is in the middle of the ocean, and because of the sea level rise slowly. But it is also it will just like that blink of the eye, it's not going to happen. It's also again in the geological time scale.
You were talking about phytoalgae. So recently there was a scientist, a marine biologist, who has created something called water trees, which is where they take these tanks of water containing phytoalgae and putting it on land. And it's shown to absorb carbon dioxide from the air as much as a 20-year-old tree. So in places where there's a high density of buildings and it's an urban city, they're able to create these small sort of boxes with like a tank with phytoalgae, and are able to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Yeah, because these are all experimental stages. By a lot of simulations, by experiments they simulate, but how far it is on reality, because the phytoalgae, marine water has to be there, and we have to maintain that temperature, pH temperature is very important deciding factor. So how far and how accurate we can maintain in a closure enclosure, maybe in a tank, in a aquarium tank we can maintain for a period of time for a experimental study. But in reality, it is.
This person started it in the Netherlands. So there's one water tree in the Netherlands, and he found that it's actually it's working, and they're planning on branching it out. But it's still in the very
that is what
rudimentary stage.
It is all experiments are there like this. Yes.
So we have a couple of questions from YouTube. Bharat Kumar is asking, Norway is about to mine the ocean near its coast. Efforts are ongoing to stop it. Could you elaborate on the problem of ocean mining so that people can be aware of it and help stop it?
Yes, a very good question. Yeah, ocean mining, we do mining for all the precious metals. So, and the mining is concentrated mainly now in the mid-oceanic ridges, where hydrothermal vents, where there is, our computer chips, everything, they need all these, all the precious metals are mined. At the same time, the government has allocated each country a specific area to mine. So, they do conduct the environmental assessment studies, and they see what are the implications for the organisms. It do have a detrimental effect, but it should be based on the best available sciences. Based on the sciences, they have to do mining, and only in that allocated area.
Thank you. One more quick comment question from Somshekhar Nayak. He says it was a wonderful insight. There must be a Ministry of Ocean Sciences. Do you have any comments for that?
Ministry of Earth Sciences is there. Under that, we have different institute, and each institute is given a committed mandate to study. So again, if we have a Ministry of Ocean Sciences, I don't think we need to have a separate ministry.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever we are doing, we have to do it in a committed and systematic way. That is more important.
Let's thank the speaker once again. Oh, one question, sorry.
Just wanted to know about this eDNA, what you talked about. How much time or this environment effects or ocean warming is happening and all that. So, what is the time scale in which this eDNA would completely change?
Yes, very good question. So Woodsole Institute is one of the pioneer institute who have invented this, and now in India we are doing, my team is doing that work. And eDNA is environmental DNA. So from the environmental samples we will get the signature. And vertically the Woodsole Institute has demonstrated, or they have done, eDNA it will be there in the water column for almost 8 to 10 hours. So 8 to 10 hours of the, so when we collect the sample, when we collect the water and analyze, so we will know which organism have presented it, which organism is there. For example, now whales, mammals, we don't know how many species exist, what is their migratory pattern. So we have the probe of the marine mammals, and if we get the signature of within 8 hours, this animal was there in that locality. So we will get a signature.
With a small memento of this event.
Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes.
And let's all thank the speaker for a wonderful and engaging talk about the wonders of the deep seas.